hosting us, and our greetings to all the officials and interested parties, my colleagues here. Minister, you are at pains to explain the inexplainable in our view. The clandestine unilateral approach that you took in providing this policy directive is for us very bizarre and very abnormal. This is supposed to be a transparent process according to Section 9 of our Constitution. The public should be aware of it, there should be engagement, and the institutions, at least that you preside over, should be aware of this process. Now, Minister, when you do a policy directive, you're supposed to do a detailed consultative stakeholder engagement. We have not seen that. We've mentioned that even in our letter to you. We're supposed to see your regulatory impact assessment that you would have conducted that would lead you to do this policy directive. We have not seen that. Now you are in a hurry to bring these multinational players, such that, Minister, you are even tripping all over yourself with your colleagues there to tell us about 490 license holders. These are historically disadvantaged groups that have ECNS and ECS license. You raise other questions besides those that we came with. Now you talk about competition, you want to create competition. You've got 490 historically disadvantaged license holders, that all of them are sitting at home. You have given them licenses without support, without financial backing, without any technical backing. And now you are even saying to multinationals, you don't need to partner with these 490 historically disadvantaged groups. We are going to find a way to avoid you giving them 30% of Triple BEE Act imperatives in terms of equity, ownership, management and control of the ICT sector. You are issuing this policy directive in the guise of creating competition. You are issuing this policy directive in a guise of trying to enable some sort of digital inclusion. You have it sitting right in front of you. The fact that there was a moratorium by ICASA under your department, Minister, to say we're not going to issue any further licenses, but we're going to support the current license holders, ensure that they partner with multinationals that come into the country, ensure that they can breathe, they get capital, they get supported. Have you consulted these 490 license holders in this policy directive? Have you heard from them? What are their limitations in terms of providing connectivity as their licenses are demanding them to? Now, it sounded as if you actually cared for these historically disadvantaged groups that are sitting with licenses that have become useless. But you issued these licenses, then you left them to the sharks, you threw them to the sharks. We only have two dominant players in the telecoms industry in this nation, MTN and Vodacom. And these poor license holders must now contend to be some last mile connector somewhere if by luck they manage to get any project that comes their way. You have not told us any of the support that you're offering to these license holders. I think your reason of competition is really flimsy, it's frivolous. It should not even have been raised in this platform. What you should be doing is to ensure that these 490 are empowered enough to be able to create competition for the two dominant, so that we get our data costs low and we're able to give coverage to the underserviced rural and remote areas. Now, Minister, that was in response to what you spoke about. The digital Communications and the Communications and Digital Technologies Department has been mandated to enable South Africa's digital transformation. To date, we can tell you that you have achieved no digital inclusion. You have not created any economic growth for the country or enabled the government to create any further employment or economic growth. You have not achieved universal access or any objectives that are spelled out in the ICT white paper. We ask ourselves sitting here, then what is the point of this department? With billions of rands that have already been funneled into your entities, we anticipated an ICT revolution in your operations. If not for the disastrous Oval meeting in the White House, which descended into a televised spectacle in which South Africa was subjected to a global ridicule as a barbarian, violent nation, pressured into abandoning its sovereign laws to appease the billionaires and multinationals like Starlink, with an investment pitch that turned into a violent crime scene of us slitting each other's throats, raping our women over and over again. If not for that scenery, where your department, Minister, became a center stage, that you have failed to provide technology that will cover our borders, that will monitor crime on our streets and in our homes and rural areas. You failed to provide connectivity that will give our children online schooling. You failed to provide connectivity in police stations such that we're able to remotely report cases and the police are able to respond to cases immediately. If not for the failures of the telecommunications department, perhaps that spectacle of the White House would not even have happened. Minister, we had even forgotten about you and your department, if not for that meeting. Let alone why we are even doing this digital inclusion and migration in the first place. But let's begin here. Blessed memory, Minister Mutsipe Katsiburi was a visionary who announced in 2007 digital migration. And she started all sorts of ICT revolutionary stuff for this nation. White papers that will give us digital inclusion. And the cabinet approved that. And the first digital signal was switched on in November 2007. Minister, it has been downhill from there. And unfortunately, you have joined the gang of the downhill. Because of the inability of this government, we have failed to meet every single deadline for digital inclusion, digital migration, to ensure that a rural child in South Africa can connect to the internet, can learn online, and can access research on internet. I can go to town to list all the failed deadlines from 2011, 2013, 2015, going to your research, 2021. The latest deadline that you had set yourself, you were sitting there, was 31 March 2025, which came and went. No digital migration. Let's talk about ASA Connect. Since 2015, you are going to connect 4,000 schools. We're sitting here with less than 599 schools that have been connected. It's a disgrace. Your predecessors that I'm going to name, that have all come and gone, sitting there. The former Minister Nyanda, 2009, 2011, former Minister Padeyachi, former Minister Pule, former Minister Karim, former Minister Kwele, former Minister Mutambi, former Minister Dlodlo, former Minister Kuba Ngubani, former Minister Stella Ndabeni, Nomvula Mkonyani, Ntshabeni, Ngungubele, and now here you are, 2024, and hopefully to 2025, because we can't afford another disaster like this. This department has been a disastrous waste of money. We actually get migraines thinking about the billions that have been spent to connect schools, to connect our rural areas over the past 20 years, with all of these ministers that I have counted. Over 10 billion rand spent. USAF has billions of rands to connect rural schools, to connect rural areas, to connect hospitals. Our questions now remain, who is actually benefiting from this disaster? Who is now going to benefit from this current disaster that you have created for us through this illegal and unlawful Regulation 17.8? Let's bring it now to SITA, where there's a new fraternity now with SITA. This is the entity that the White House was talking about. SITA was supposed to have provided ICT technology to the government in its entirety. Since 1999, when it was formed, SITA has managed to achieve nothing. Claims of corruption leveled against it, leadership instability, governance failures, and the list goes on. To an extent where you yourself, Minister, you've called on the Public Service Commission to launch a comprehensive investigation into this agency. That today, you are sitting here using, maliciously so, its regulations, illegally so, to try and advance an agenda that goes against our constitutional transformative agenda of this nation, even our national development plan itself. Now, when we watch that ill-prepared
conclusion, Honorable
not
Makhubele.
yet, Minister, we've been waiting, sorry, Minister, waiting. We've been waiting for this. I will not be long, but I need an opportunity to express this. It's of national interest. We waited for everybody who was late to arrive here, so may we kindly have this opportunity to express. It's our one opportunity. Our constituencies are listening to what we are saying.
Thanks, Honorable
Those
Makhubele.
ill-prepared GNU delegation that was at the White House describing the failures. Minister, they were describing the failures of SITA. They were describing your failures as a Minister of Communications and Digital Technologies. They were describing the failures of Centec, the failures of USASA, the failures of broadband infraco,
Well, ladies
USAF.
and gentlemen,
No.
I tried to say something over there, as you can see. Well, it didn't work out. And I was like, yeah, what happened? I think my microphone was off or anything like that. But anyway, thank you guys. Tell me, what do you think about what Ms. Mr. Makhubele said, and also the questions she asked. And I think she also said a lot of things over there. Tell me, what do you think? Those who liked and those who watched till the end, those who subscribed, thank you very much. I appreciate you guys. Love you. You take care of yourself. Sharp, sharp.